Life, it's Home Plus Life Podcast. We're not here to just talk about the latest trends. We're gonna break through the myths and put some facts on the table. Cause when it comes to real estate, you need to be well informed. So now it's time to get serious and talk market trends. Here we go. Sure enough, we'll go down a rabbit hole and talk about something cool that has caught our attention. It's JTM. Welcome everybody, let's dive right in.
Hello. Welcome to the Home Life Podcast.
Hola.
I'm JH, John Hellaby, JH, whatever you want to call me, your host. And I'm here with your other host,
Siarn. Just Siarn, because if you try and pronounce my surname, people will just go, that's too hard.
Look, anytime you get a castle named after you probably means you've got a difficult name to pronounce.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep. No, that works.
Pretty much. All right, so today we're going to be talking about solving Australia's housing crisis.
I am so
with 3D
keen.
printing
Look,
houses.
we've done a lot of episodes where we're ripping in and we're talking about the problems and exposing the problems and the government solutions that are not really solutions and all of that kind of stuff. Today, we've got something that could genuinely address the supply issue. I've been watching this space. I feel like I've been watching this space for almost a decade, but in earnest, I've been watching it probably for at least since 2018 as advancements have really started to happen, and I'm so excited about it, and I'm looking forward to talking about it. But then we're going to jump into a topic that you and I happen to be experts in.
I don't think we're so much experts. I think we've just
veterans. I think it's veterans is the word.
I think we've just succumbed to the fact that this happens every year, and it's just like we know that we're not the only ones out there that have to survive this.
We're going to talk about surviving family Christmas. I regret the use of the word experts now. I realize we're veterans. We're the grizzled old veterans who have seen many a battle. And the moment that the calendar swaps from November 30 to December 1, we start getting our equivalent of NAM flashbacks, family Christmas flashbacks.
But I will also introduce you to one of my sister's little phrases as well. And you actually found it quite entertaining. Picnic purgatory. I will go into that as to what it is and how you can execute it at your family Christmases.
I may have become the commandant, the warden of Picnic Purgatory and taken my role quite seriously for the good of everybody else.
Precisely.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, look, before we jump into the Australian housing crisis, one of the core reasons behind everything we do, Home Life Podcasts, and especially Check My House Price, is the reason why I founded Check My House Price was to ensure that everybody is fully informed. We want to break down the myths and all of the hyperbole and the rubbish that's out there in the market about what's going on in the market, what your house might be worth. You know, the experts around the barbecue are not necessarily experts in your particular property and or area. And quite often too, look, the advice we get from our elders is often well-meaning, but they grew up making, their purchasing decisions in houses in a different market. So it's always good to get a house price report and get an up-to-date view of exactly what's going on with your property, keeping yourself fully informed, regardless of whether you want to sell or anything like that, just staying fully informed and getting an up-to-the-date, up-to-the-minute report from people who are working with up-to-the-minute information in your local area. Look, we all love AI. I'm the biggest fan of AI, but AI reports are only as good as the data that they're based off, and often that data is 3 and 6 months old. Yeah. Right. A lot can happen. We all know when those first interest rate rises hit in 2022, how quickly the market fell off. It was like someone flicked the light switch. Yeah. Right. 3 months is a long time in the Australian housing market. Yeah. So working with someone who's got the up-to-the-minute information is always the best way to go, and that's exactly what your Check My House Price free house price report is. It's a report compiled by someone who is working in the industry, working on the front lines, and has that immediate knowledge of what's going on in your market. So jump out, grab one today.
And knowledge is power.
Knowledge is power. Check myhouseprice.com.au or .co.nz for our Kiwi cousins. Let's solve Australia's housing crisis.
Well, let's give a not potential. Let's give a solution that is being used in other countries.
It's starting to be, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, okay. And I did bring up one issue that you did say, no, it's already been addressed. It already can happen.
So what we're talking about today is 3D printing houses. Now, to give you a bit of background, I'm not talking about the desktop printers where we're 3D printing Monopoly houses.
Well, it is. It's just...
Well, it's on a massive scale.
Is an actual piece of land.
Yeah, and it's on a massive scale comparatively, but they're also not using plastic thread, right? So typically what happens is they build these massive 3D printing machines, and they will use a particular mix of or variation of concrete, and it'll go up through an apparatus, come down out through the tube, much in the same way that your 3D printer prints a bit of plastic out through a tube, like it liquefies the plastic and then prints it in its space and rapidly dries. In this particular case, it is cement that is coming out of the nozzle and layering. And so it builds in the same way in the sense that it layers up bit by bit by bit. And it's a concrete mix. Quite often, and in some countries, what I've been really impressed with is the sustainability aspect.
Yeah.
They can actually reuse a lot of discarded building supplies and construction waste and like remix that into the cement mixture in some countries as well.
There you go.
So there's reducing waste in a significant way.
It's also being able to be a little bit more eco-friendly.
Yeah, look, there's that benefit to it.
Not complete greenhouse, but at the same time, pretty.
Yeah,
it's repurposing junk.
But what the big appeal for me. The big appeal for me is when we look at the Australian housing crisis, supply is the biggest underpinning issue, right?
And also the amount of time that it takes.
Well, but that's part of the supply issue,
yeah.
Right? We have limited people to be able to build the houses. We have limited construction materials and things like that as well. And so we have this massive problem. Part of that is lead times and turnaround times. It takes a long time to build a house, put up a frame, all this sort of stuff. Okay. You can 3D print a house that's 12 meters, so 12 meters wide by 50 meters in depth, 3-bedroom house in under a week.
Yeah.
From like, there's apparently like with one of these companies we've been researching, it took 2 days of planning, and setting up and getting the site prepared. And then once they started building, it was done in under a week.
Yeah.
So a complete 3-bedroom house built in under a week.
Yeah.
Now,
could you imagine how quickly they would be able to have an estate put in?
Oh, it's insane. Because if you got multiple machines, you could literally put it in a estate. If you had 100 machines and 100 houses needing to be built, and you had the cement, you could literally build an estate in a week.
Yeah.
You know, obviously you still need tradies, you still need your electricians and your plumbers and all those guys. So that's going to be the delay there. But in terms of actually building the house around all that, less than a week. So, and that, because of that time saving and because of the materials involved, like concrete mixers are fairly cheap, you know, comparatively speaking, costs 70% less to build.
Yeah.
70% less to build.
Which means that the government would still be able to have their stamp duty.
They can shove their stamp duty where the sun don't shine. We're going to make that an election issue, and we're going to do some very unpleasant things.
Well, aren't the pollies going to be a very under the you know, you got to do the supply. You got to get rid of stamp duty. Like, you guys got to pull your fingers out.
Yeah, well, and that's it. Like,
we're employing you to do a job. Now get in there and freaking do it.
I love that you use it. We're employing you to do a job. Because one of the things, I look at tax. I hate paying tax. And then I realize, you know what? It's not that I hate paying tax. I don't hate paying tax. I hate how the government spends the tax money. And you get this receipt now going, this is where we're sending all the money, right? And it's so
cute when they put on
poorly
infrastructure, because you're just like, where's that?
Yeah, exactly. But it's also so poorly managed. And I think this is something that we've all forgotten. The government, the ATO, they're custodians for the people's money and for the people's well-being, That's what their job is. They are custodians for our society. They work for us. And I'm not jumping up on a soapbox and a conspiracy theory nut job thing running here going, they're employed by, we all know this.
But we don't hold them to task.
We don't hold them to task effectively because we feel the only way we can is through an election, right? But we can start to with social media, and we've seen that start to happen in social media where people are actually exposing things and that. But I feel like they've forgotten that they don't run the country and are the owners of it, so to speak. They are the custodians of it on our behalf.
Yeah.
And they are meant to be operating on our behalf.
So technically speaking, if we say jump, they're supposed to be going how high?
And that's it.
So if we're saying, come on guys, like what the is going on here?
Well, we're getting ignored, right?
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, look, that is a rant.
That's a different rant.
That's a different rant. Let's get back to solving the crisis. I think.
So the one thing that I did read this morning that you sent through to me, which I found really interesting, was over in Saudi
Arabia.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sorry if I pronounce that wrong.
I might have pronounced that wrong.
So they built a office building in 17 days. And this is where I was just like, hold on. In 17 days, you can build a fully functional office building. Why the hell aren't we doing this for residential? They are actually doing that.
Well, they're looking at it.
Yeah.
No deal's been done yet, but one of the Chinese company who are considered the global leader in 3D printing houses, it's called WinSun. They have spent time in Saudi and have pitched to 3D print 1.5 million houses. Which is an incredible achievement. And the report out of Saudi is that they were quite impressed with the quality of it. But closer to home, we've got companies in Melbourne. We've got a couple of Australian companies who are 3D printing. In fact, one was featured on The Block last year. I wasn't aware of this until I started researching. But they were brought in. I don't
like The Block.
No,
so.
But they were brought in to build a pool house, like a pool cabana type room, granny flat type deal on The Block, and 3D print it, and you can jump on their website and check it out, and it looks amazing. Like, I really like the look of it, and it's got its own little kitchen in it and everything like that.
Yeah.
I think it only took them 28 hours to build.
Yeah.
28 hours.
Yeah.
Right?
It's insane.
It's nuts. So,
because when you think about it, all of the retiree villages that you have, again, 28 hours, they're only needing one, maybe 2-bedroom little flats. So you like even if you, I did find this funny. So even if you have people who are like, I just want to have a group of friends that I can live near and we all have one communal area, and it's like, yeah, that's called a retirement village, but sure, continue. Where we can all just have this one area that we all commune, and then we have our houses around it. So when you think about it, those types of things, if someone was to do that, they would be able to have their 1-2-bedroom houses set up, and you could be literally moving into your new homes in a month. Because let's face it, you've got sparkies, you've got plumbers, you've got all of that.
But there's a case study that's being played out at the present, right, where one of these companies, one of these Australian companies, are building low-cost housing in Indigenous communities.
Yeah.
In this fashion. Now, you and I don't understand enough of the Indigenous community housing situation needs and all of that sort of stuff. So we're not going to dive into that because we just don't know. We're not smart enough. It's not. Sorry, that's not true. It's we haven't done the reading, we haven't done the research, we haven't found the information. So we're not people who have any knowledge on that. What we have found though is the quality of these builds. And that this company is capable of building. They've got a number of, it's a company called Lyuten, Lyuten. And they've got a number of different like housing plans on their website as to what they can build, 3-bedroom houses and so forth. These are actually decent quality homes. They're able to build quite quickly, quite effectively, cost effectively, most importantly. And we've talked on the podcast before. We've discussed about the government, looking to build social housing, and a number of the grants, and a number of the housing budget that Albanese's talking about is going to be dedicated to low cost social housing. If these cost 70% less to build,
and less time,
you could build 3 times as many houses in the same budget, genuinely addressing the supply issue.
Yeah.
So I would love to see the government stepping in and going, you know what, this is viable. We're going to roll this out for our social housing projects and so forth. And the reason for that, and I know there'll be people out there go, oh, but they're going to be shit houses, low quality. Like, they're relatively high quality to start with already as it is now. But the government backing this kind of project immediately legitimizes it, which then increases investment into it, which means the technological advancements in the space, the quality advancements in the space, and in particular the luxury advancements in the space, are going to get a turbo boost and are going to happen significantly quicker, which means we get to a point where 3D printed houses are the norm, and we're genuinely able to address the supply issue, assuming, by the way, there's a big asterisk and a really big assumption on this. We can address the supply issue with 3D housing so long as the government releases enough serviced land, and the councils and state governments, etc., also ensure that services are provided to those blocks at the same time.
Do you want to know something? And I know a lot of people just go, well, why the lower economic households? The one thing that I don't know whether you're aware of this, right? But it is an option. Again, this is something that you need to go and do your own, dealings and own research for your particular situation. Don't take this as, it's
not financial advice. We're talking and offering opinions.
So, when I was working at DHS, there was a lady that came in. And she was like, oh, can you help me do, this is what I'm needing to get. And I was like, yep, not a problem. And then she went on to tell me, and she was on New Start. And so she's like, I am trying to find my house, my own home, and I've been saving up for that. And so in this regards, because of, and again, you need to go and do your research, but at that stage, she could access her super because of how, she was needing to find, and she needed to have a certain amount saved as well. Because of that, she did qualify to buy her own property.
Yeah, right.
Because she had money in super. She was working, and the government actually helped her get the remaining money to be able to purchase.
Right. So there's grant programs and things, and there's programs there to help with that.
Programs out there for people who are on that lower end, who are sick and tired of having to go through that whole process of trying to find somewhere through housing, because let's face it, housing itself already has that supply and demand issue as well. So I'm just saying, potentially that may be something that you can look at, especially for these 3D printing.
I think if the government gets in and backs it, it absolutely addresses. But when you're also looking at it from the point of view, when we're talking 70% less to build, right? Very rough maths. You're basically saying it's 30% of the cost, right? So therefore, you can build 3 times as many houses as what you could for one as it currently stands. Yeah. Looking at that we once were able to build 200,000 properties. If we got back to that capacity and then underpinned and supported with this style of building, who knows? Maybe we can do 400. Maybe we do 500 or 600.
For look at Springfield.
Yeah.
That has taken years to actually accomplish, and it has
the speed would be phenomenal. And look,
those types of
the speed will be hampered by the ability for councils, developers, etc., to provide services. Please understand, this is not a magic bullet.
No.
but it is absolutely a viable bullet in the chamber to solve the housing crisis. So there's still other things that are dependent on it, but the speed with which they can build, the cost effectiveness of which they can build, makes this a really viable solution to address the housing crisis in Australia. And coming back to something you mentioned in the intro, you said that there was an issue that you'd raised with me, and that was these houses have to be built to be strong enough to withstand Australian conditions.
Yes. So up north, even one of them is cyclone proof. It has to be done.
Many, like back in 2018, when I was really starting to go down the rabbit hole on this, they were already building 3D printing houses in other countries that were rated to a Category 5 cyclone rating, right, and that could withstand that. The stuff that we read in prep for this episode as we re-ventured down the rabbit hole, these houses are being built, so in terms of a strength rating, they are more than 5 times stronger than the Australian national standard for the strength rating.
Yeah, right.
Right?
That's huge.
That's massive. It's massive. So we just need to I don't think they're ready. Like, I don't think we could roll this solution out tomorrow. I don't think if someone came along and said, here's $1 billion, roll this out tomorrow. I don't think it's at that level yet, but I think it's close.
Yeah.
And I think that we absolutely should be supporting it and going, here's some money to get it to the point where we can go, here's a bunch of money, go build houses.
Yeah.
And I think that it's such a viable option that it needs to be considered.
Even if it's just that there's councils out there who are like, you know what, let's give it a go. Let's give it a go. Let's see how quickly we can get this stuff up.
5, 6, 7 years ago, they 3D printed an entire hotel suite in Dubai.
Yeah.
And now in Saudi, they 3D printed an office building in 17 days. We're building pool cabanas in Australia in 28 hours.
Yeah.
Like, the advancements are happening, and we are so close to being there. I think that it's such a viable option as a society, as a government, that we give it a nudge to get it over the line, because what we lose up front now and the expense now is going to be paid back in spades as we solve the housing crisis and we start to provide shelter, which is one of the basic fundamental needs of our society and of human beings.
Yeah, it needs to be done.
Absolutely.
Okay, so shall we go into our JTM?
Let's JTM.
Let's see which rabbit holes we're going down in this episode. It's time for JTM. It's J-Thought Moment. It might be drinking whiskey, woodwork, smoking beat, podcasting, story writing, treasure hunting, you name it. What's really grinds my gears, singing, playing TV shows. As you can see, nothing's off limit. It's JTM, J-Thought Moment. JTM. What will be his next shiny object? JTM. It's time for this week's J-Thought Moment.
So, there is a couple of movies that came to mind when I saw this. Surviving Family Christmas.
Oh, God.
If anyone can remember back in the, I think it was like early 80s, maybe the late 90s, there was an Australian Christmas movie that came out called Crackers.
I never saw it.
Really? I kid you not. Like, oh my God.
See, I was probably living it.
Well, that's it. Every Australian lived that like where you just go, oh my God, like there is just drama upon drama upon
Christmas.
Maybe not the specific type, but there's still drama where you just go, what the hell? Like, what is going? Why?
Yeah. I have hated Christmas for as long as I can remember, and I understand why. It's nothing to do with the season itself. I love the minute the Christmas lights go up. I've really started to enjoy that because it means we're nearly at the end of the year. You start to relax a bit more. People are happier and so forth. But Christmas
Apart from
Day,
when they go into shopping parking lots.
yeah, I can't stand it. But that's just, people in general. Like, I don't deal well with a lot of people. I can do it professionally as part of my job, and I love seeing everyone, and I love catching up with everyone. But after a 2-day conference, I need 4 days of just downtime in a dark room to recover. you know, and that's because of the ASPE, the neurodivergent part of my brain. Like particularly with audio, my brain tries to process every stream of audio as though it's equally important as every other stream of audio. So it's just this cacophony of noise and this excessive processing of the brain, and which is one of the reasons why I've hated Christmas Day, right, and family Christmases. And it's not uncommon for me to just phantom and ghost. I will disappear for 30, 45 minutes and you'll find me in a dark room or a dark corner. There's been times where I've hidden in the walk-in robe, just sitting down under the clothes where no one can find me with my eyes closed, just to decompress from all of the noise. And I know that this is an extreme kind of thing, and I get that, but that's just what I need to do to be able to survive the day because of all the noise, all the stimulus and everything like that. But there's also always drama. Like as you're saying, you add family issues that are mostly unresolved from, you know, years and years of growing up together, sibling rivalry, parents trying to deal with the stress in their life and everything that's going on while trying to raise kids.
Yeah, the parents.
The parents are generally most chill.
Or let's say grandparents, not necessarily, but the parents of the older people of the children, the older children are going, oh my God, I have to deal with that. And then you've got those people going, I have to deal with my little humans as well. Yeah. So it's like there's
there's all the intersecting relationships between the adult siblings.
Yeah.
And the minute you start drinking, you get to that point of tipsy, and those unresolved issues that probably should have been talked out in therapy suddenly start to boil over and enter into conversation.
It's just like there's always one thing that tips everyone over, and it's normally at lunchtime.
Oh, yeah.
It's normally when food comes out, so does everyone's trauma.
But that's because generally, and look, Australian Christmases, in my experience, they've started drinking from about 10:30 a.m., maybe early, because often there's champagne breakfasts.
Yeah, it's normally when you know kids have opened up their presents and there's that. What do we do now until lunch?
Exactly,
period.
And so everyone sort of starts to drink.
So there's drinks and there's merriment.
And being in summer in Australia, where Christmas is, it's hot.
So
you've got that factor coming in.
And because of how hot it is, people are inside in close quarters with the aircon on, and there's drinking, and that's when
let's get ready to rumble.
Exactly, and that was really, really loud.
My bad.
So
Deal fix it up in post.
So, you know, you need to have a mediator. So there's always one family member who is the designated mediator, where it's just like, okay, you need to put down your gun. You need to put down your gun. Let's communicate. Let's talk about this.
I get it. She stole your dress in grade 10, but you can't fit that dress anymore, so let it go.
Exactly. Like, you know,
and that starts a whole new... How dare you say I can't fit that dress anymore?
Yeah, exactly. But then, you know, there's the whole, well, you know, Mum told me that I was bringing this salad and you rocked up with the same salad where you knew that I was bringing that salad. So now we've got two of the same salads, and it's like, okay, that just means that it was popular.
We get to eat more salad.
We get to eat.
And this is so many people get caught up on so many. And I guess this is one of the things that this is what frustrates me on Christmas Day is everyone gets their knickers in a knot about pointless things. Yep. Your example of the two salads of the same, right? It is if both people have made the same salad, that's because both people like that salad and want that, and typically that means that there's not going to be enough anyway with even two, right? But everyone gets all upset about it. You made something that I was making it as though you had dominion over the salad.
Well, that particular salad.
But moreover, usually that's the first thing that goes and disappears too.
Yeah.
So it's like, good thing the number of times that at a family Christmas, it's hit about 3:00 in the afternoon. We're surveying the battlefield of Christmas lunch, and that item that was a double up is gone.
Yeah.
There wasn't enough, and people are like, wow, that was good on and
Yeah,
and
but do you know what? That's when I
pipe
say,
up.
is that a pity eating?
No. I pipe up always from the back and just go, good thing you brought two, eh?
So
I love the death stares I get for that.
It comes down to communication. Make sure that you are like being very specific about what you are bringing and what you're not bringing.
Yes.
Also, if there's someone that goes, I don't want to bring chips and dip, just go, that's really nice. However, that's what I pulled out of the hat. And so that everyone else had their names in there and had different things that they were going to bring. And that's what you...
See, I take a bit of a different approach.
Because at least then they can't go, well, this is rigged. No, who cares? It's chips and dip. Like, freaking hell. Do you know how many bloody lunches I have been to? And I'm the one that's rocking up with all of the complex stuff. And I just look at the person that's brought the chips and dip and I'm like, why the fuck can't I do that?
Do you know what I do? So with that,
and normally they're the lady complainers that are going, I wish I could have brought a salad. And it's like, do you know what? Next time, go for it. I'll bring the chips and dip.
But I look at it and if they go, I don't want to bring chips and dip, go, well, look, that's what you've been drawn, as you've said. That's what you've been drawn. You bring the chips and dip. But I want to why not bring that too? There's never enough food and there's always too much at the same time. So make sure you tick the chips and dip off.
Chips and dip.
Whoops. Ooh, it's too early to even start drinking. There's no excuse for that one. But make sure you bring the chips and dip because that's part of the menu that has been organised and making sure we're ticking all the boxes, right? But if you want to bring more than that, okay, go ham, do it.
This goes to show that he's never done it before.
Oh, I have many times. Because I just go,
that's normally when they turn around and go, but that means that I'm bringing two things.
And I go, well, that's your call. You do whatever makes you happy. Just make sure the chips and dips are there.
That's how we end up with the two salads because one of the salads people is going, screw it, I'm just going to bring what I want. So then,
and then
do you understand?
That's where I get to have my moment.
Many people out there going.
That's where I get to have my moment at the end of the day, where I turn around and go, "Good thing we had two salads," and just piss everybody off. It's great. Fun. But hang on that. There is a way that I actually avoid that. Right before the drawing it out of the hat, I will go in and I have organised Christmas dinners and lunches and all that sort of thing before, and I'll say, right, this is the menu, guys. Let me know what you want to bring off this menu. If you haven't given me a dish or an item that you're going to bring off it by this date, I'm going to assign one to you at random. And that's how, and yes, there is arguments where they go, I want to bring that. I want to bring that. I'll be like, that's cool. You can both bring it. There's enough people that we can still have everything on the menu and double that up. You do you. More food is great. It's not worth fighting over this.
I think there also needs to be you need to just be very embracing. If you know that you've got a high conflict household.
You mean like having four sisters?
Just embrace,
three sisters,
just embrace the fact that there is going to be some sort of shit show. And just be good with that, and actually have your own strategy of being able to just completely disengage.
Yeah.
And just go, you know what? You clearly are looking for an argument here, and that's fine, but you're not going to get it from me. So this is what I'm going to do. And when you do that, I can tell you right now, the person who is creating the conflict where you just go, you know what? You're wanting to argue. I don't want to argue today. I'm good. So do you know what? I'm just going to go out into the backyard and you can stay here, but I'm going to go out in the backyard or I'm going to go for a walk or whatever. And I'm just going to go and do me. You do you. And, see you in a bit.
Yeah.
And you know what? A lot of the time they just stand there and you have just completely taken all of the steam, all of the hot air out of their balloon, and they're standing there just going, because you haven't given them what they wanted. You haven't given them their little, I need to blow my steam off and I'm going to target you. You take control of that situation and just be like, cool, you do you. I'm embracing the fact that that's what you want to do. However, I'm not going to participate. and you walk out and you just go and do the whole.
I need to go check on the smoker with a beer in my hand. And usually the brother-in-laws follow me because they're like, yeah, we need to help JH check on the smoker. Yeah.
Oh, we just need to go.
Why are we carrying an esky out there full of beers? Oh, it might take longer than expected to check on the smoker.
Oh, we're just putting it out here because we can see that it's starting to get a little bit of condensation on the floor and we don't want anyone to trip over. Meanwhile, they take the esky out and they don't come and fix the water that's on the floor. So, yeah. But at the same time...
And then we end up sitting around the fire pit in the backyard and we get it. Usually, our record was 97 minutes before someone realised that we had stopped checking the smoker and we were sitting around the fire. But usually we get away with at least 45, 60 minutes sitting around the fire just chilling before someone goes... What are you guys doing? You still checking the smoker? Yeah. We're just doing it at a distance.
Yeah.
And then we start getting enlisted in chores.
The other thing too, though, is that there is nothing wrong with going, all right, you know what? This is too much. Okay, who wants to come for a walk?
Yeah, absolutely.
Getting out of that small, or even going, you know what? This is something I haven't done for a long time. Let's go and run around underneath the hose. Yep. You know, like go and find an activity where a lot of people can go and participate at the one time so that high conflict person doesn't have an audience, doesn't have the ability of going off at you, where you can just go, yep, I'm out, I'm done. And that is where my sister's picnic purgatory comes into effect. So
I mean, it was primarily for the kids, but it was announced. It was announced for everyone prior to the Christmas lunch. Was that there would be a picnic purgatory?
No, it was for a birthday, but then it just turned into this is how it's going to be for our family. So what had happened was because this particular sister of mine is normally the mediator, she's just gone, I'm sick and tired of being the mediator. I'm going to create a designated area for the person who is creating the chaos. And not everyone likes chaos. And if you're going to create chaos, you're going to have your own little area.
Essentially, it's a naughty corner, but...
It is a naughty corner.
Outside.
But obviously because when adults don't like being told that they have to go to the naughty corner, we call it the picnic purgatory. So you have a designated area of which you bring it to everyone's attention. See that area over there? If you're going to be creating chaos and mischief, and when people have expectations and you are deciding to rebel against those expectations and boundaries of people that are here, it is going to be, that's where you belong. That's where you are going. There's no if, buts, maybes. There's no trying to talk your way out of it. You start shit, you are going to end up over in the naughty corner.
And for the adults, like for the kids, there was no diffusing because kids are amped up Christmas Day anyway, so you just go and you put them there. But for the adults, the mere jesting, like threat of, I'll send you to picnic purgatory, done in a jesting sort of cheeky way, was enough to immediately diffuse the situation.
Well, yeah, because it was just like, well, I don't want to go and sit by myself.
No, it wasn't that, but it was that because every adult goes.
Because this isn't voted on thing, right? So,
but every adult goes, you can't make me sit there. But at the same time, they're like,
actually, we can. So it's one of those things that if you have someone who you know is going to be high conflict, because let's face it, there's always one. That they're going to, who for whatever, it could be that they brought a salad and someone else brought a salad. Or,
and you're really stuck on the salad. I feel like this was a real event.
It was a real event. It could be that someone got 2 more oysters than another, or, you know, and yes, that was another one. It could be that that no one checked on the meat, so the meat got burnt. If anyone's
wondering, this is why I go and hide in a wardrobe at times on Christmas Day.
Meat got burnt. Mum's passed out on the steps from drinking too much Frangelico that her brothers gave her. Yes, another thing that did happen.
You know what? For once, I'm glad that the bus isn't driving over me, but I don't know how happy your mum's going to be that you just threw her under instead.
She finds it entertaining because she was just like, I had no idea what Frangelico was, and my brothers just kept on giving me, and it was delightful. And my mum, so my grandmother, was getting angry at my mum because she could smell that the meat was burning. My grandmother was in a wheelchair, so she couldn't do it. She needed help to do it. Meanwhile, all of us kids are too young to be able to deal with it. So yeah, it was very entertaining. Yeah. We've had a lot of mileage out of that, but there has been so many things over the years where it's just like, looking back on it, it's like, did it really need to be such a big deal? Like, it's given us memories to be able to laugh about and be like, how stupid was that? But in that particular situation, picnic purgatory would have been great.
Yes, absolutely.
Because it's the perfect way to go, do you know what? You're cracking up about a couple of oysters. You need to go away. You need to think about the fact that you are starting to act like a 2-year-old.
You need to calm them down.
Yeah, what do you do with 2-year-olds who are chucking tanties? You take them out of the situation. You put them in their bedroom. You say, you're going to sit there and you're going to think about how you're carrying on.
You calm down.
That is exactly what you are doing to the adult. So you need to make sure that everyone understands there is a designated area for your misbehaving adults. Children already know that. They're already all over that.
They're already well trained in that.
So have a designated area where you go, you're going to be cordoned off. And then when everyone agrees that you are...
Your language, you're sitting there going, you're going to be cordoned off. But when I suggested we roped up a boxing ring and stuck the combatants in there and then watched them fight it out, you said that just wasn't acceptable.
No, it's not. So, and then once everyone can see that, they have calmed down, that... They are now. You don't give a time restraint because people will be like, "Yeah, I'm good now," and it's like, "But are you?" So let them. Once they realise that what they've done is not acceptable, and they're like, I want to apologise for the way that I carried on. Believe it or not, a lot of people are like, "That's fine. You can come back within the community," but until they have apologised, they're not coming out. They will be threatened with it. Of you keep on carrying on like this, you're going to picnic purgatory. It can be outside. It can be that they have a particular seat that they have to sit on and face a wall. Whatever it is that I just
send them outside because outside you can shut the windows, put the aircon on, and you don't have to listen.
Yeah. Yep. So whatever it is to suit your particular festivities, do it. Make sure that people understand where it is. Make sure they understand the rules around it, and make sure that they understand that you can come out once you have apologised for your behaviour. But until that point, you're staying there. If they go, well, I'm not going to apologise, let them stay there. Serve them Christmas. Spot. Yeah, could serve them Christmas lunch in picnic purgatory because we don't want anyone going hungry.
They'll just get up and go home by that point. But that's their choice. That's their choice.
That's exactly right.
Well, look, I think the other thing too, we talk about having a plan, and we'll jump into some quick dot points in a second to finish up and go. This is because we've basically had a therapy session.
No, it's fun.
But the other thing that I find helps me cope and get through Christmas Day, which can often be incredibly full on, is Christmas Day is not my day, if that makes sense. For me, it's Boxing Day, right? Boxing Day, I call it adult Christmas. I will, we'll have our friends over and things like that, and it'll be a really chill day. We'll be watching the Boxing Day test. I'll do a big cook up because I love doing the barbecue and the smoking and cooking up the meat. And so for me, I look at it and I go, I serve on Christmas Day. I'm there to organize, to facilitate, to help, to be kind of the host and all that because, and to make sure the kids have and make sure everyone else has a great time because Boxing Day is my day for that. Mm-hmm. And that helps me with the just dealing with it and sort of not being affected by like other people's drama and allowing to shrug it off and just go, whatever, fam, you do you, boo. And to get through it that way. But look, jumping in, except that there's probably, unless your family's the anomaly, there's probably going to be pain and battle and frustration, right?
I don't reckon there's any family out there that does not have some sort of happen.
I'd love to know how they did it if they were. I mean,
the severity, maybe there's just people that really.
If you're children of boomers, your default setting is dysfunctional as a baseline. So organise, plan ahead for meals, plan ahead your sleeping arrangements and the activities and things like that. If you're going to have activities, make sure everyone knows the plan. right? Because if everyone knows the plan, people that's going to reduce the level of anxiety of not knowing what's going on, not knowing where their part is, how they can help, how they can be involved, or what they can be doing. And communicate it, communicate clearly, set expectations about gifts, contributions, schedules in advance, all that sort of stuff. I think that's super important. It's particularly around gifting. It's often an awkward conversation at times, but just look, rip the Band-Aid off, be blunt about it, go, hey guys, this is what we're going to do. Let's keep it all reasonable for everyone. Allow other people to have input, of course, as well, because everyone's got different budgets. And boundaries. Look, establish your personal boundaries, maintain them, take breaks when needed, because at the end of the day, there's no point having a Christmas day where your mental health gets destroyed because of family drama. So maintain those boundaries, enforce them, and good luck.
Yeah.
May the odds be ever in your favor.
You can do this.
Peace out.